one point, my next guest had the best performing hedge fund in the world. But this wasn't just any fund. It was the largest foreign investment fund in Russian companies. That is, until theft and murder changed everything. Bill Browder founded Hermitage Capital. He began investing in Russia back in 1996 after the fall of the Soviet Union. He saw a ton of opportunity. He started with $25 million in seed money, began buying up stakes in privatized Russian companies. But in 2005, Browder was inexplicably arrested, blacklisted by the Russian government as a so-called threat to national security, and then expelled forever from the country. But his Russian tax lawyer and partner, Sergei Magnitsky, remained in Russia after the Putin government raided the fund's offices. Magnitsky began digging and discovered the theft of $230 million from that fund. After challenging the government, Magnitsky was arrested, tortured, and killed in prison in 2009. He was just 37 years old. Browder, who fights to this day for Magnitsky's memory, has recounted the entire harrowing saga in his book, Red Notice, a bestseller. He joins us now in a Fox Business exclusive. Good to see you, and thank you very much for joining us. Our government has confirmed that Russia meddled in our election. Who do you believe ordered that and carried it out from the Russian side?
Well, it's pretty clear that Vladimir Putin ordered it. This is what he does. It's not we shouldn't feel too special. He does it to everybody. He did it to France. He did it to the Netherlands. He did it to Germany. Even the little country of Malta is being messed around with Russian electoral meddling. It's being done by the secret police. They call them the FSB, or the military intelligence, when they operate outside of Russia. And this is standard operating procedure. This is how they like to roll. This is what the Russians do. Your
experience is quite stunning. You built up to about $4 billion in assets in that fund by investing just as Russia was sort of inching toward capitalism, but it was still looking more like a kleptocracy. And you began agitating, as any good activist investor would. Why did you suddenly become a threat to Russia?
Well, so I went there in the really early days, right before there was sort of any architecture in the market. And my idea was that if Russia goes from horrible to bad, you make a lot of money, and then you make even more money when it goes from bad to good. And so as I was there, I discovered huge, massive stealing in the companies I was investing in, the big gas companies and oil companies. And so I decided that I was going to try to research how they did the stealing and then expose it through the international media. And for a while, this was an extremely profitable investment strategy. But as you can imagine, the guys who were doing the stealing weren't so happy about me exposing their ill-gotten gains. And so eventually, this ended up going right up to the top, to Vladimir Putin. And as you mentioned in the introduction, I was expelled from Russia in 2005 and declared a threat to national security. And so, unfortunately, really even more terrible things happened after that with the murder of my lawyer, Sergei Magnitsky.
Which is just devastating. But, Bill, when you hear that President Trump has argued that it would actually be a good move to partner with Russia in areas where we have common interests, such as fighting ISIS, what goes through your mind? Do you see any value in that?
Well, what I understand about Russia is that Russia is not our friend. They are our enemy. They wish us and have the capacity to do much more harm to us than ISIS could ever do. ISIS is a bunch of ragtag terrorists, whereas Russia is a kleptocracy, a mafia state with nuclear weapons. They could annihilate the United States of America, and they very well may if we play our cards badly with these people. Well, and so this is, we've been dealing with these people for many decades. To somehow turn around and think that they're going to be our allies is just wrong.
Well, your dear friend Sergei Magnitsky was tortured and killed in prison in 2009. He died in February. Former Fox News anchor Bill O'Reilly landed a really big interview with President Trump during the Super Bowl, and he said, "You know, President, Putin's a killer," and the president's response was, "Well, we kill a lot of people too." What did you make of that?
Well, what I know is that Vladimir Putin and his regime tortured and murdered my lawyer for discovering $230 million that was stolen. It wasn't stolen from me. It was stolen. These were taxes that we paid that were stolen from the Russian government. He exposed it, and then he was tortured for 358 days and killed. Now, in America, if somebody discovers the theft of $230 million of
course,
tax money from the government, they would never torture and kill
sorry,
him.
We're running out of time, Bill, so I do want to just quickly ask you this.
Sure.
At what point, when you look financially at this country, do you say that the Russians have an economy the size of Italy? They're tiny. They have a real problem with money right now. How are they paying for all of this spying, all of this hacking, and how are they even running the country? And why haven't people risen up?
Well, the way they're paying for it is by not paying for social services, not paying for hospitals, not paying for teachers, and they're also stealing a lot of money for themselves. And so the answer is that people have every interest in rising up. It's just nobody knows what's going on because it's one big whitewash on the television. You can't find out what's going on in Russia because it's just one big whitewash. Well, eventually they will. That people can't tolerate that forever.
The book is Red Notice, and I want to tell you that a couple of weeks ago at Warren Buffett's annual shareholder meeting, 4 completely different people, unrelated, told me to buy and read your book. Because everybody, oh, what's the book you're reading right now? And they said Red Notice. Bill Browder, thank you so very much.